Welcome everyone to Western Mass News Digital Edition. I'm Chris Pisano.
And I'm Amanda Martin Ryan. We start with an update to a story that caught national headlines. An East Longmeadow baker is facing death threats after posting controversial cookies on social media.
But the community showed up again this morning to show their support. Before dawn this morning, a line started forming outside Sweet Boutique. By the time they opened, customers were wrapped around the block. They sold out of cookies in just 16 minutes.
Store owner Nikki Moran tells Western Mass News she made them to express her frustration about immigration raids and deportations happening across the country. All earnings from the social media engagement, along with some of the profit, will be donated to the Immigrant Defense Project.
We're now entering day 3 of the search for a person in the Connecticut River. What started out as a rescue mission is now turning into a recovery mission. This is video from Tuesday when crews saw a person clinging onto the ice and then quickly getting pulled under the water. Bad weather forced them to end the search early, but things are now starting up again.
If you live in South Hadley, the services you use every day could disappear or at least take some serious cuts. Schools, sports, programs, even the library. In about an hour, the town is holding a meeting at the Senior Center for you to voice your opinion. If you can't make it, you can take an online survey anytime this month. There's a link to it on the town's website.
2 people now in the hospital after a major crash in Amherst. A tractor and a car crashed into one another and spun off of Route 9, ending up in the woods Wednesday afternoon. It happened near the Amherst-Pelham town line. One person rushed to the hospital and the other trapped inside, leading to a medical helicopter being called to that scene. The crash is still under investigation.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Another mild day today. The clouds giving way to some of that sunshine, but that sunshine is actually the colder air also that's beginning to pour on in. Still hanging out in the 40s in the valley, but you can see a little bit of that camera shake, indicating that wind that's starting to pick up out of the west-northwest, and it's going to bring in those colder temperatures. Look at this in the valley as of top of the hour, 45 Springfield, 42 Northampton. Look at Worthington and Beckett, where there's been a few flurries, already down into the 20s. North Adams and Pittsfield in the 20s. In the valley, I think we gradually cool off here, but we're going to lose a couple of degrees per hour, and that wind is going to ramp up, so you're going to feel the cold air certainly moving in. We're pretty close to where we were yesterday at this time in the valley, but look at the hill towns, some 15 to 20 degrees colder with the front moving in. Winds have been out of the south, but now they're swinging around into the west, and they're going to get gusty and stay gusty. Already winds between 20 and 30 miles per hour. A couple of flurries and snow showers across the hill towns, perhaps whitening the ground. Let's go hour by hour. 4 o'clock, 41. Notice how we're losing about 3 or 4 degrees per hour. Nothing unusual about that, but when you add in the wind, it's going to make it feel colder, and by tomorrow morning, the wind chills are going to be down near zero, with temperatures generally in the teens under a mainly clear sky. So tomorrow, we do bounce back into the lower 30s, around freezing by the afternoon, 20s across the hills, but let's knock off about 10 to 15 degrees to our highs in terms of how it feels with the wind chills. The wind will be strongest overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, and then it'll have a tendency to ease tomorrow afternoon. It's really about a one-day stint of the Arctic cold anyway. So you can see overnight tonight, we might have a few passing clouds, but skies clear out. So tomorrow at least we'll have a fair amount of sunshine throughout the day. By 6 o'clock, we're in the mid-20s tomorrow night after highs in the lower 30s. Now, temperatures tomorrow night kind of hang out in the 20s. We do have a system heading our way that will represent milder air, slightly milder air, with temperatures coming up into the 30s. But ahead of that, we're going to see some light snow late Friday night into your Saturday morning, and we will see some minor accumulations with that. So tomorrow, about 30. Saturday afternoon, we'll be in the mid-30s, so some light snow in the morning, then a little bit of melting. And right now, Sunday looks like it's dry, blustery, mid-30s. We're still watching Sunday night into Monday potential, but that is looking even less likely for snow than we were even thinking yesterday. So we'll keep an eye on it, but it doesn't look like much. However, Friday night to Saturday morning, we'll wake up to a couple inches on the ground with some light snow falling in the morning, and then it tapers off to flurries in the afternoon, but a little melting in the afternoon on Saturday as well. And of course, we'll still tweak in that 10-day, so we'll have it for you coming up at the top of the hour at 4 o'clock. All right, that's it for now. Amanda and Chris, back to you.
All right, Dan, thank you. The Skating Club of Boston is sending 3 skaters to the upcoming Winter Olympics. One
is 24-year-old who lost his parents in last year's mid-air plane crash over D.C. After scoring a spot on Team USA, he's now fulfilling his lifelong dream to compete in the Olympics. His parents were skating champions and coaches at the Skating Club of Boston. He'll help represent them and the U.S. in Italy next month.
That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching today's Western Mass News Digital Edition.
Be sure to tune in to Western Mass News at 4 on ABC 40 coming up soon. Have a great day.